Hello, my name is Anna and I'm going to be my presentation to my PowerPoint on a patent design project on introduction to criminal justice. First topic that we're going to discuss, that I'm going to discuss with you guys is the problems that are occurring today with criminal justice. Well, some problems that are very common today is, for example, ethics. There are a lot of law enforcement officers that are not really ethical because they've been corrupted. Um, they could be corrupt. They have been corrupted outside prison, inside of prison, or it's a lot of corruption to just they sell themselves for money, for position, for any kind of thing that they can just get out of these opportunities of not doing the right thing. Also, there are other police officers that have been very ethical and unfulfilled, and that has been thanked for. And second problem, I believe it's very common these days that you see it in the media all the time, is racism. Yes, there have been some cases in which racist police officers, for example, attack black people. This is the most famous one for their mistakes, which is sort of that. And yes, it has happened, just like that, but it has been few cases compared to the amount of cases that have been presented in courts or to the media in general. I believe that in this case, media has done the biggest damage on cases because not all the time that a white police officer arrests or just stops a black person from committing a crime or anything like that, it means that that person is racist. Because just media, they just point out white people attacking black people. But what about when black people attack white people? Or when black people attack white people or black people attack black people? It's the same thing. It's just that media just points out these things so they can have stories, they can have a meaning, and what they have caused is just more hate between, like black people and white people. There have been other times that, for example, I know personally a story that a police officer was stopping a black person, and this person was reaching for a gun, and the police officer was in all right to just pull up his gun and shoot the guy because, I mean, what about if he just pulls the gun first and shoots the police officer? Well, the police officer didn't use his gun. He used his taser. Um, Basically, he just tased the guy, and the media was putting the police officer on the black person because the black kid just got tased. Hello, who's reaching for a gun to kill him? I mean, I think it was nice enough for him to just use his taser for that. Well, another problem that is causing just the generation of criminal justice and crime and all of that together, it's global economic. I think we have faced a difficult time economically in the country, and I believe that what this has caused is more hate between people. People are like attacking other people, not because of money necessarily, because they have personal problems that have to do with money, and they just get frustrated, and I think that this has caused problems in society. For example, I work at Metro PCS, and there are a lot of times that customers just come just mad because they're charging him more money or this or that, or they want to buy something that's expensive, and they get really, really mad at us, and they yell at us, they insult us. We have There has been times that we have called the police, and I don't think that this it's right, that it's normal, and the economic situation project suits are too expensive for him, and then we get mad. We get scared. We call the police. He just did not obey the police, and that is another problem, It is caused the police has to arrest them, open the gate, and stuff like this can happen as well. Okay, so moving on, my next topic is UTR program. UTR program is a Uniform Crime Report. Basically, this program is designed to get a record of all the crimes that are happening in the country. Um, there are 18 CVs that just um, make this police officers they make the reports and they provide it to the FBI, and the FBI is what puts all these reports together of crimes and gives it to the ESWAT program, and this way they just manage to get all the records and put like a rate. For example, you can just go there and you can just try to live in your city or your state, and they can tell you probably like a good rate of a certain crime. For example, like California has 37% rate of housing abuse, Florida has like 50% of drug dealers, it's just like that. It works like that. And yes, it's helpful for just citizens because they can be aware of what is happening in their cities. They are aware of what is happening close to them. The bad thing of the UTR, the Uniform Crime Report, is basically that not all crimes are reported. So he just reports the program supports the crimes that are reported. So if you get attacked, like abused, and you don't know who did it, because it was dark and I just say, and you get scared. You can call the police, you can show the report. Guess what? People are not gonna know about it. The city's not gonna know about it. Your friends are not gonna know about it, and they're not gonna use caution for these problems to for themselves. Like they could probably get some precautions for this crimes not to happen to them. Like robberies, for example, you can just get cameras if you're in your house or alarms or stuff that can protect you from that to happen to you. And I think it's very good. Another thing that these are not I don't like about it to say it's just that, for example, if somebody gets into your house to rob you and you wake up, you get attacked, he kills you. Well, the police reports, basically the main point of them is going to say a guy just murdered a woman or a guy, but they're gonna point out so much the robbery, which was the main cause that person got into your house. And if he just raped you, they're not gonna put that in, or probably it's not gonna be as important. And the UTR is only gonna take the murder. It's not the murder. It's not gonna take the rape or the robbery. So I think that these things are things that should be aware because it happened. It's not like it just didn't happen. And plus, the main point was simply of the robbery. They got into your house, they raped you, they killed you because they were trying to rob you. You were just in the middle of their story. Okay, so the next topic is present day value. Present day value is just ideas formed together that basically explain what a loyal police officer needs to be, ethical, what they have to give to society, how they have to proceed into their jobs. These ideas were given by Sir Robert Peel. In this case, you can get to the picture on the on my PowerPoint right now, and this is guys that just form all these ideas together. Well, these ideas today, I think they're still followed, even though some people follow it because they are aware of them. Some other people follow it simply because they're ethical, they provide a good service to the community, they do really, really well on the job. So even though they haven't read it, even though they don't know about it, let's just say that they um, really, they are really helpful for the community itself. Well, today, I did a little research and following by those ideas, there has been a 50% reduction on burglary in the country, for example. There's been 36% less robbery, and in general, there's been 20% less crimes committed. So I think this is pretty good because even though it's a 1% less, it is something. It is helpful. It is somebody that changed, or people that change in general, or just, it's changed, society. The fact that it's 20, I mean, it's a lot more better than just 1%, let's just say. And this is good because his ideas were followed, his ideas are being put in there in action. And they are very important for police officers today's date because, like I said, on the problems, there has been a lot of cases in which police officers are not ethical, and this do affect our society because they're committing crime. They are not doing it personally, but they are committing crime to happen. There has been people that are hurt. There's been people that have got away with crimes. And the fact that there are some people that follow these ideas, which are very, very, very ethical for police officers, I think it's great. Okay, so moving on, my next topic will be procedures that person needs to go through when on commit crime. First is the crime. Just start by that. Person commits the crime. It happens. Now you need to face the consequences. Later on is the investigations. The police officers start investigating the crime scenes, evidence, suspects, and so once they reach their suspect, the person, of course, gets arrested. Once the person gets arrested, this person gets bugged. The fact that it's bugged, it means that the person gives their fingerprints and all their information, their record, basically all their information, everything that has to do with them. So police officers will have a full report of, for example, any records they have had similar to the ones that they have been arrested for. And this can actually help a criminal or not. Because, for example, if they see that the criminal has a long record of mistakes or bad moments or anything of its case, they know what they're dealing with. They know that this person is good as compared to a person that has a clean record. Next is going to be initial appearance. Initial appearance is where the case is brought to the judge. In this case is where everything is set on the table, the investigation is done. Of course, it's proceeding, but they already have the suspect. Following that is the preliminary hearing, or grand jury. You can say it like that as well. Is where they ensure the innocent persons are not hastily, malicious, and arbitrarily prosecuted. Next would be the arrangement. This arrangement means that the prosecutor comes with plea bargain, or as well their in cases the attorney is what they recommend the suspect in that case if they know and they're willing to just admit it that they are um, that is their fault, they have committed a crime, and by this they can just have bargain, presented to the prosecutor. The prosecutor can accept it, or he can modify it or change it, or maybe that doesn't happen, and then the prosecutor just goes and just admits the plea bargain, in which this plea bargain is basically an adjustment between the defense and the prosecution. This means that the prosecution preferred this arrangement in which the suspect will have to plead guilty in order to probably receive less years, a lighter sentence, just probably. That doesn't mean that it's going to be like that. Just because you plead guilty, you're like, oh, 5 years off. No. It depends on the case. Probably maybe if it's a misdemeanor, yeah, the person doesn't have to go to jail. He would just go have parole, which is gonna be better for the person for the suspect. They're not gonna be in prison. Also, by the suspect accepting the plea bargain, this means that there's not gonna be a trial because he just accepts his mistake or his culpability on the case, on the crime. And this plea bargain, it doesn't have to be, for example, like the main person in the crime. It can also be for other witnesses as well that were there that helped the person commit the crime, anything like that. That can also be prosecuted and also be could go to jail as well. After, if the suspect did not accept the plea bargains, then it comes the trial. Trial is basically what we all know: the courtroom, judge, jury. Basically, the prosecution just presents its case. The defense team just defends the suspect. Everything is delivered to the jury, evidence, witnesses, everything that has to do with the case from both parts. And then the jury just deliberates their opinion, the verdict, and this is passed to the judge. And then the judge just gives sentencing, in which it could be, for example, depending on the case, we don't know that. After that, of course, if the person just gets parole, he just gets released as a parole agreement. If not, then this person can go to jail, will just go to jail for the crime. And if it's innocent, that will just be completely free out of anything. And that's it. These are the procedures that the person has to go through when they are arrested. Okay. Moreover, last but certainly not least is going to be the courtroom procedures. These are the stages of a criminal trial. For example, there are 8 steps for this. There are 8 levels. It just started by trial initiation. Trial initiation is for any case, it can be presented for the prosecutor or for the person that is accusing another person or company or whatever. For the person that is presenting the case to the court and the jury, and the judge. In this case, the both teams just get together with the judge. They present the case with the evidence that they have to support the case. For example, if it's a criminal case, it's gonna be here's evidence, please write the report, everything is there. If it's somebody just accusing another person or a company suing, anything like that, they have to be like, for example, I want to sue this company because this is that, gives them a proof. If you just get, I don't know, medical assistance, here it is. Things that can support the case, and the judge can have an actual case. If there is not enough evidence supporting the case, the judge is gonna be like, hey, there's not a case here, there's no fact here. So, you're just gonna have to find more evidence and just leave with that. After the judge approves the case, basically the jury selection. In this case, the prosecution and defense team, they work together on doing some exams to the people that are presented for the jury. This is called voir dire. This is the exam that they have to have some pretty detailed things that they have to just be part of the jury. Moreover, over than that, it's gonna be opening statement. Opening statement is for the person that is accusing the defense team. They just present the case to the jury, they give the evidence, they provide everything right there, they open the case. They're the ones that present everything, why they're doing it, why they're accusing the other person, just giving out details out there. Next to that is the presentation of evidence. In this case, both parts, they present their evidence, their arguments to the jury and the judge, of course. And for example, if they have a witness, if they have written evidence, if they have, for example, it involves a picture. This case is where all the evidence is being presented and investigated. For example, if it's a picture, they might just run it as if it's a real picture, or if it's or the picture has been edited on a computer and is fake. If it's, of course, a written paper, to be the same in handwriting, to know that it's real. If it's a signature, to just check it and make sure it's not a fake signature that they just did. If it's a witness, they get asked questions, and just for the jury and the judge to make sure that that witness is reliable and is telling the truth. Because it might not be what it happened. That witness might not say basically what they have seen. For example, this brings me a flashback from this movie. It's called My Cousin Vinny. It's a really, really, really fun movie in which it really describes the steps that are made in court. It's not really how it is today. It's a little bit confusing because like way back then, and it's a really fun movie. You guys have to watch it. But my point is that in the movie, the evidence presented, for example, by a witness, is that they saw the crime being done, and they were asking. For example, I remember an old lady that she had wearing like these big glasses, and he was like, okay, so you can see right with your glasses, right? And he was like, yeah, sure. She was like, yeah, sure, that's fine. So he went all the way to the other side of the room where she was, and he just gave her like, how many fingers am I holding in here? And I remember she was holding 2, and she said 4. And supposedly the distance where she was to the crime scene, it was like 100 feet, and he was just standing 50 feet, and she said it wrong. This proves that the lady could not have seen exact same thing that she was saying. So she wasn't a reliable witness right there and then, because if that happened from 100 feet with more obstacles in the middle, and she's saying that at 50 feet that he was holding 4 fingers when he was holding 4. This is not being reliable. So this is the kind of thing that the court does to the witness. They present, they investigate, and they also investigate if they're making the true point of view and if what they're saying is reliable or not. Maybe they just have an idea, maybe they just saw something and they just think that many things happen. They don't have to be exactly lying about it. The next step would be the closing arguments. The closing argument is very important in a courtroom. Why? Simply because it's for the prosecutor and the defense attorney. They present the summary of the case. This is the time that they have to put everything they have out there. They have to do a well done summary so that they get the jury's attention. They get their point shown. They get emotional evidence, anything that proves the point. They have to put it out there. And this is very good because a good closing argument can define the case. Of course, if it's a criminal case, it's gonna be a little bit different. It's gonna be a little harder for the defense attorney if they're defending the suspect and he's guilty. But if it's like suing or other kinds of cases, it is very, very, very important, and it's very good that they have a good closing argument. Then, once they gave their closing argument, then the judge charged the jury. This is basically when the judge dismissed the jury so they can discuss all the evidence, all the points of view, all the opinions. They can just have a well-test decision. It doesn't have something. This is just, hey, a couple of minutes. I think this, I think that, I think that. How many are with the prosecutor? How many are with the defense attorney? It doesn't happen like that. It has a well done process. This can take weeks. This can take months. This can take hours, even minutes, just depending on the case and just depending how everything is done right there. If the evidence just proves it all, they don't have to talk about it as much as if it's a little more confusing. Both of the parties, they have well done, well defined evidence that just can be either of them. They have to go deeper and this can take longer. Next to that is, once they have a decision, there is the jury deliberation. They just say what they think of the case, if the suspect is guilty or not guilty or anything. They just give out their decision to the judge, and the judge gives sentencing. And giving the sentences, this led to the verdict. The verdict is basically the final decision, the final thing that the judge can say, according as well to what the jury has to say as well. And he will give the years, he will give the sanction, he will give the sentence, he will give if it's guilty or not, how many years, everything that he will have to put just out there. And by this, I'm finished. This is my last point of view and just case of my paper. And thank you. I'm sorry if I was not completely clear about anything. I'm sorry if my English is not very good. But bye bye.